In reality, only a select few individuals hold the power of influence. Not a pounce over a luxury item never to be owned, but real influence over police, governments, and even clandestine fraternities. My true story is so controversial that I invite you to comment and even question my integrity. Episode 20, Walking the Walk. I was completely taken aback by this white witch revelation. White witch was what happened. That I tried to act normally. I felt uneasy. I was in a situation. It doesn't sound like much, does it? But white witch, maybe a soft little phrase given to a friend, or was it? I was unnerved. It's what the content that came next. I had to get out of this place. I liked Lulu a lot. Settling in, getting on with the family, living with a nanny was a bit strange to get used to. Found a way with that. She was very helpful at sometimes and strange on others. And, I was in it. My choice. Lulu's choice. I'd already been fixed on the name of the club. I'd just been introduced to private members clubs and they all felt very new and interesting, but I wanted something different. I wanted something online. Things were changing. I could see that. I decided to call my new community the Home Club. Jeremy had come round to see Lulu's home, which is now what it was after my leaving. Yes, I left immediately. I told Lulu I'd seen the email. She said nothing. Her mouth was open. Whilst words weren't coming out, I pretty much heard her loud and clear. It just confirmed that something odd was going on. And it wasn't until much, much later that it came round. But anyway, let's keep going, because there's more than enough oddities to cover before I ever get to Lulu. And far more important and interesting. It's just explaining how intuition should never be dismissed. Trust it. It will always guide you in the right direction. After Jeremy's visit with Lulu, I let that go on. Look, business is business. I didn't hate Lulu. I just couldn't be in that situation. I wish I were. The email said, the contacts I have are very important to the future of my business and me. I'm a little worried that Honey may try and contact my contacts directly without my knowledge, which I simply cannot allow. Look, just to be clear, I'm looking forward to potentially working with Honey. I'm just a little put off that Lulu would contact me directly and not include you when she knows my relationship is with you. I took some time out to concentrate on the Home Club and install my experiences, all of them, into the way in which I could protect people from the issues of trust and bad connections. Whilst I knew all the luxury property side of business, I needed experience and knowledge in other areas as legal, travel, yachts, cars, and some may say, obviously, relationships. I get it. It won't surprise you to hear I'm no expert on them. I just enjoy them. I set out to bring a team of senior experts into the club as brand ambassadors to support it and give constructive views on any development needs or requirements. When leaving my Twickenham home, I gave yet another excuse, as if there was a need to Miss Havisham to stop contact, as she felt that my behaviour was disruptive to B. I felt like saying something about her own behaviour when recalling my previous barrister, Miss Sheila Kavanagh, who questioned Miss Havisham in the dock at a previous family hearing. Quote, so, Miss Havisham, is it Tom, Dick, or Mike? Unquote. Yes, Miss Havisham, formidable and much appreciated, fighting my corner when I needed her. In any event, look, I needed to progress. And this setback had more of an education value to it than most of them do. It's just at the time they were a bit odd, a bit painful and, disruptive and other negatives. But when you look back, they guide you in some strange way. They give you a lesson. And I'd had many, but not as many as I had to come. I had an extra oomph, an extra desire. I had a potential business that no one was doing, no one was thinking of, and it was very real. I could see all of the beginnings of online Instagram influencers pouting, standing next to a Ferrari or a luxury home, and this is mine, that's mine. And they're indoors when they're away from all that breaking down, crying, when they're living in a council flat, scratching to make ends meet. The fakery was just too much. Look, I'm not dismissing or disregarding or disrespecting influencers who do live in places that don't actually showcase their lives. But when you promote these things as your lives, then that's fakery, isn't it? Little did I know at that stage that fakery was the name of the game, not only online, but in person. Fashionistas, arriving at an event often late, eating and drinking when they arrive until completely full. Something akin to the insta-caveman paleo diet. Something had to change. Whilst I'm considering all these things and how to put this platform together, because remember, I have no expert opinion next to me with Lulu and her cohorts. I'm now starting from scratch, trying to find out what these platforms are, how to build one. When thinking about that cold and hard, you think, billions, millions, look at the Facebook, look at this. How am I ever going to get there? How many years will it take me? Who am I going to have to sell my business off to? Take a chance to? I put that aside. When I received an automated email from B School, Danes Hill Private School in Oxshott, Surrey. Now, Miss Havisham was doing her level best to create issues and drive a wedge between the school and me. It's not unusual. I'd been used to that. It was when I received a reply from the bursar of the school, Mr. Richard Quinn, who was mostly rude, negative, and always unhelpful. I had no input into the choice of my daughter's school. Remember, the myth of parental responsibility. I was kind of getting used to not having it. Even though there was a court order stating that I was to be included and give constructive input into my daughter's school, I was not. I looked online and found some very concerning comments of bullying at that school. And other strange phrases that I won't mention here in regards to the headmaster. I thought to post my experiences on the platform to find out more and included the phrase, strongly advise anyone considering the school to avoid it like the plague, considering my unfortunate experiences. Now the school got wind of it and banned me from attendance to the school. Sports days, parents' evenings, the lot. Well, I'd given them the excuse, really, hadn't I? They didn't need one. But they saw it as interfering in school, giving negative comments on the school, whereas my experience was exactly as I'd said it. Not only had Mr. Quinn taken it upon himself to ban me from the school, but he'd also banned my family, mother, father, brothers, grandparents, grandmother. And in his email dated the 14th of May 2015, quote, further to your email below asking about the attendance of B's grandmother and your brothers, I thought long and hard about the matter and taken soundings from others about the pastoral implications. And it is my decision that we cannot allow even the attendance of your family, as it would not be in the interest of the school, nor be. The reason for my decision is reference back to your toxic posting, where you stated that our school was to be avoided like the plague, for which you provided no explanation. I urge you to explain your behaviour to your mother and your brothers, and the reason why you and they are now banned from Family Day, Grandparents' Day, and all other school community events until further notice. Would you also be so kind to confirm your understanding of this very important and clear instruction? Also, can I remind you to please put the ICO directly in touch with me here at the school regarding your recent subject access request and other requests for information, as I have not yet heard from them. Yours sincerely, Richard Quinn, the bursar, Danes Hill School, unquote. My little prick. Fortunately, that school tripped up itself. With their headmaster many years later, in the woods. We'll get to that. They know what it is if they're listening. Do avoid them like the plague. And when I say that, what I mean is, I made a decision that whatever club or community I built, that no one attending or parent at that school from that day on would ever find their way into my club. I began to create this business, the Home Club. Discovered a posting headed, "Be careful of this career criminal, Darren. Darren scammed me and my partner for thousands of pounds for his construction company. It looks like he's now got a new venture to scam people called the Home Club. I would urge anyone and everyone to avoid Darren like the plague." How strange. What a phrase. Surely this wouldn't be Mr. Quinn, would it? Would it? Anyway, with the ban that I've ensued, the lessons will be learned. The mood had changed, elevated even more. I had some energy. I'd rested. I was back in the game. I looked to review any previous contacts of mine and anyone I had unfinished business with. I just thought how or who to appeal my conviction to. Couldn't go back to the Criminal Cases Review Commission, could I? They were biased against me. They'd had me arrested, charged, trying to put me in prison. How could I appeal to them with that bias? Was there an alternative route? I had to find one. Just didn't know how. I contacted the email address that I'd retained for Guildhall Chambers, Portsmouth, chasing up my subject access request. Now, whilst connected to Chambers, before my trial, Mr. Iqbal thought to use these chambers until the head of chambers, Mr. Peter Fortune, disclosed that he was a friend of Tom Clark, KC. Strange, I thought. I continued on with my SR. I'd been expecting to receive a reply from the clerk, the senior clerk, Mr. Tristan Thwaites, but instead, his deputy clerk, Miss Stephanie Mazulis, responded on the 27th of May 2015. Quote, "Dear Darren, Mr. Concannon is not in a position to reply." Now, I replied within minutes, referring to the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, and that in the absence of a response, a complaint would be filed. What happened next has got to be one of the most rewarding yet stupid acts of another individual I've ever recorded. It goes beyond Paul Martin and co. by disclosing Wix's PNCs. It goes beyond Tara's release of her family matters in her papers and the potential for her being nutted off in a mental institution. This was something else. This level of stupidity that, well, let me tell you. What happened was Miss Mazulis had forwarded my email onto Mr. Thwaites, who was at home feeling sick or complaining or something. In his stupidity, he then hit the reply all button when replying to my email, which focused on the question of my missing box of financial papers. I'll quote this. Quote, "I really feel like punching this idiot. There is no client care. He was a client of Southfield's lawyers. Tim didn't do direct access at that time. His fees were never paid. I don't know whether he can even make a subject access request application, as the stuff may be privileged to us and the solicitors. We don't have anything on him anyway. There is a small folder in my Gmail under the personal section on the left-hand side. I think I retrieved a Lever Arch file from the flood, which will be on a shelf in the white room in the basement. This could blow up, so better see what Tim has to say about the SAR before doing anything with response." Unquote. Now, as for punching this idiot, he wouldn't have gone well. But the point being, this could blow up. There's a file in my personal box in the white room in the basement. What file? Iqbal Idle files. Didn't have any. Head of chambers at Guildhall. Close friends with Mr. Tom Clark. Is your head buzzing yet? So much going on. Maybe having to go back and listen again. Yeah, I get it. Things move on, and George Bond had been calling me with his concerns about Derek and co. regarding the oil and all the opportunities presented to Katerina. Whilst his own contacts are important and connected, he didn't have the contacts to protect Katerina, and so I decided to intervene, because she was still tied into Derek, I heard, and I had to stop any potential embarrassment to her and her family, the British royal family. I contacted her husband, Sir George Desmond Lorenz de Silva, KC, KS, TJ. The words of his email on the 28th of May 2015 will never leave me. God rest his soul, he's now deceased. Quote, "Dear Darren, I am greatly indebted to you and your email. The picture you paint is an extremely worrying one. Naturally, as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council, I'm greatly troubled by what you say and the impact it might have on the family." Sir Desmond's message was a revelation. I later discovered that by protecting Katerina, I protected the British royal family. This was the same level of protection and trust I wanted to create for everyone within the home club, looking out for their interests, fucking off any wrong-uns, making sure that they could post and interact and meet at events free of embarrassment, vetting people, fucking idiots who want to upset the fucking apple cart, fakes. I didn't have to wait too much longer before George Bond called me, saying that he'd just had Katerina on the phone, almost crying, and that Derek and others were furious. "What about me?" George asked. "What do you mean?" I said. "Well, you know, I was going to make some good money out of that deal, and now I've lost out too." He went on. He did go on. I'll keep my remarks to George to myself, I'm not going to tell you what I said to him. But I just gave him a reality check on what was potentially happening. But I like George. He's a likeable character. And I appreciated he was going through a great deal of stress and turmoil whilst taking care of his partner, Brian. So I gave him a fucking bit of leeway and offered him the position within the home club of the brand ambassador for the title of home, which covered things like fixtures, fittings and equipment, property sales, property professionals, interior designers. Each of these main headings had 3 subheadings, which was to have a further brand ambassador or an associate, a specialist in the sub-category heading. At the time, this was the foundation of the home club's business plan and planned online platform. Without question, look, George was renowned and exceptional award-winning interior designer, highly respected in the UK and overseas. Celebrities loved him and his work. It was a character. He soon accepted my offer. and I was very excited to have him on board, albeit he remained a little disgruntled as to the no deal on the oil front. I spent the next year or so forming the initial foundations of the home club, so I needed to find some paid work to tide me over. I was reading a newspaper one day and I noticed an advertisement for carpenters and thought to inquire, as my tools and carpentry skills had never let me down. If you've got a trade and you've got some tools, you can always earn money. Unfortunately, I was faced with a position where online I was being mugged by the fucking filth. Hammersmith and Fulham whole bill, whilst they corrupted the case against me. Nevertheless, I met with a multi-trader who had branded himself as Bob the Builder. I'm not going to get in a copyright. Those were his words. That's what he was doing. That's up to him. And he was doing one job at a time. He wasn't a tradesman, but he was getting work. He had a likeable character. He was getting some good references, and fair enough. He had a company of free salesmen who were selling loft conversions using SEO and Google Ads. Now these, let's call them traders, were visiting clients, sell refurbishment works, lofts, extensions. So I arranged to meet Bob on site at one of his projects in Wimbledon. So he told me he was experiencing completing one project at a time, but he wanted to begin several of the projects that had been pre-sold for him by these traders. Now I explained to him exactly what I'd done previously for myself, Top Flight and everything else, and he asked me if I'd help him grow the business. I said I'd think about it. Bob was persistent, and I needed a job. Don't trust me, I had little or nothing. He mentioned that he'd seen the odd line post by Hammersmith and Fulham Police and asked if I'd been convicted of fraud. Yes, I said. And as I was walking away, filling with a rage, damage caused by Clark and Jameson, Wilkinson, all the other fucking wrong-uns. Police, you know the names. He carried on. That's not the only thing I've heard. I'm from Dagenham, Essex. From my pals, that like you and your family are respected people. Straight up. Old school, canning to our family. Good stuff. I don't give a fuck about the old bill. They're filth. My brother's a copper, and that's one of the main reasons we don't speak. Look, there's some proper people that will vouch for you and your family. And that's good enough for me. Fucking first thing I think of is, brother's a copper. Not to fucking get in. But I had to roll the dice with this one, because I had little or nothing, and I needed to get on. I was reminded that whilst I have had every opportunity offered to me to live a lavish lifestyle without crime or edgy business arrangements, I've remained hard-working and straight. As such, the respect that my family and I have received is rock solid, bulletproof. It's one thing knowing that, it's something else hearing it from others. Now don't get me wrong, look, I'm no angel. I'm nowhere near perfect, you know that. Fully flawed in many ways, normal person. We're not perfect, are we? But in my upbringing, to survive and flourish, it often took so many fights and unorthodox management of extreme situations. My background and behaviour had, however, earned me trust and respect at all levels. I chose to work hard and keep my good name, whatever situation I found myself in and whatever test I endured, even going to jail and beyond. These were just stepping stones, lessons, and I dealt with them all in my stride. I told Bob about the full extent of my experience and he accepted. And the offer was simply, I would run the office, set up all the contracts, liaise with the clients, and he would run the sites. Now, unfortunately, on the first job that we set up together, so basically he set up a limited company, Henry Goldstein was introduced to him, and through his accountancy firm, the company was set up. Bob then asked if I wanted to obtain 50% share in the company. I said yes. And I would never fucking go into business 50-50 with anyone unless with my family. On this occasion, such was the desperation, I accepted. And, we looked to build a good business. Unfortunately, a few weeks into the first project we'd started, Bob was trying to fucking lift a steel ridge beam in a loft conversion and pulled his back, which now left me doing the whole fucking lot. And that wasn't a problem. I'd run project manager of 36 teams at Top Flight years ago. I'd done my own businesses. I fucking do it on my head. It's just a lot of work. It just didn't give me much, or if not any, time to deal with my focus business, which was the home club. Anyway, one morning, I decided to allow a local handyman called Les to work on these sites. Now, Les was old school Wandsworth, fucking no good little cunt, proper gossip. But look, I have to fucking step away from those things. This is just work, right? And I just thought we'd give him some work. He had a van, he was willing to run around, and which would save me some time doing it. And just fucking generally, he wasn't a tradesman by any fucking means of the word, but he would do a bit of this, a bit of that, handyman, bit of this, bit of that. I needed someone to do a bit of this, bit of that. Anyway, one morning he's standing outside of a property we're working on. He spoke about the weekend he'd spent with his family. In particular, the time he enjoyed with his son, who loved BMX and would go down a BMX track and skate park in Kimber Road, Wandsworth. Now, in this passing comment, he mentioned that was, many kids watching, unable to participate, whilst others did, as they didn't have bikes of their own. Now, this fucking saddened me, I must say. It really did. I had feelings of and images of my daughter, whilst living in a fucking palatial home with her mum and new partner, which is great. I just still had this thoughts of my daughter feeling left out, unable to play. It just fucking got me right in the chest. And with everything else going on, I thought, fuck it, I've got to do something about this. It's not my deal, but fuck it, I don't like the thought of kids not being able to fucking play and enjoy life, Fuck, what can I do about it? It's like the fucking prison with the fucking closure of the education. What can I do about it? So I thought, fuck it. The Home Club is a club for the elite. Executives, entrepreneurs, and the social elite was the phrase. Tandem connects, Latin, but ultimately connected was the monocle. Buzzing in my mind, I was not experienced with these platforms. I needed to work with others. I just needed to have a few trust issues to overcome and join people to my business. And fucking hell, I wasn't happy about that, but I couldn't progress in certain areas, website and platform and other things. The idea was, I thought, great and needed, and it was all mulling around. Philanthropy being key, I could give back to communities. But look, let's start with giving back to this one. I was fixated on Les's scene he'd fucking provided me with. Children being sad, watching others having fun. And this mental image really struck with me. The more I thought about it, the more I wanted to do something. My company was working for a couple of contacts. One was a journalist, Arabella Neville Rolfe. And she liked it. I explained it as I did just now with kids not working. She also had a good heart and touched her as well, I'm sure. So I said, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 3 Works BMX bikes, loads of fucking prizes, some trophies. I'm going to fucking hire this skateboard park and fucking put on a barbecue and let the community have a day out. Like if the kids don't have bikes or don't have skateboards or whatever it is, I'm going to provide them and they can keep them there and then they can fucking let them use them. At least that way they're not being excluded and actually being included in the fun. Fucking hell, what do you do that for? If I want to do it. All right, okay. How much it's going to cost? So I don't care. I'm going to fucking do it. Now, don't care. I'm not going to do it. Remember, I want to put money into my home club, but this is more important. So I did it, as ever. Went down to Booker's, cash and carry, fucking bought burgers, buns, hot dogs, fucking all other street food, barbecue, DJ, fucking bought 3 Works bikes in 3 different sizes. Little baby one, next one, big proper one. Trophies. The trophies were brilliant. I'll put some photos up. Fucking perfect. Couldn't have fucking had them handmade better. They were cogs of a bike in gold. Different sizes. First place, second place, third place. Absolutely fucking brilliant. Bought them down at Northcote Road. Fucking trophy shop. Brilliant. I thought to bring a couple of local dignitaries along to lend their support. One ended up working for me. He was a brickie from Australia. And when talking, he told me he was the former Australian BMX champion. I thought, fucking hell, you can come. He ended up being a foreman on my site, funny enough. Anyway, the day was set. It looked like a good day. Weather, obviously, being a bit fucking touch and go. It was Sunday, the 4th of October. And bizarrely, this day was fucking lovely, like a summer's day. Out of the blue, it'd been raining the day before and this and that. And all of a sudden, all families from all ages and backgrounds and colour, creed, religion, didn't matter. Wandsworth was at Kimber Skateboard Park. Children raced around the park and there were more smiles than I could count. This was where the real value was. The community spirit spectacular and what turned out to be a great day. I was just looking around and just thinking, fucking hell, this is what I wanted to do. This is exactly how this is perfect. There were people that weren't destined to come, but they were in the adjacent park and they'd seen what was going on, just wandered over, they were welcome, they were given free everything. The barbecue was free, everything was free. Drinks, everything. I put it on. Not bragging, I'm just saying no one paid for it. I wasn't earning a living out of it. It's a fucking event. Then I just saw out the corner perhaps the vision I'd had previously, a little girl on a scooter. I got a photo of her, put it up, fucking brilliant. She was racing around a BMX track, joining in with all the olders, fucking who were on their bikes and that, but she was fucking at it, running around, getting involved, sticking it in. Honestly, tiny little girl on a tiny little scooter at the top bowl of these fucking BMX track, and I was a bit sort of running over, almost, hands out, trying to stop her falling over. She didn't care, she was fucking at it. And, there were obviously moments when I thought of my daughter and, I hoped that some kind of karma was being given to me, my child, when I couldn't get to her, or get to her so rarely to make a fuss of her. Anyway, in this instance, the little girl was buzzing around. So I said to me mum, look, go and make a fuss of her. Bring her over here and let's get her a prize. She's doing unbelievably well. I mean, there isn't a category for this one, but we'll just call it fucking getting involved. So as we brought the little girl over, she was looking a bit shocked and stuff. You know, she thought we'd done something wrong. And we said, no, we're praising her and building her up. And, you know, rightly so, she'd done well. We said, look, you can have the first prize of the day. God, I fucking lit up. So she can go to the shopping mall. And I said, through there inside the BMX cabin, there are all the prizes. You can go and choose anyone you want. Now, there was already a group of 16 to 18-year-olds in there drooling over the fucking lightweight forks, lightweight frame, lightweight crank I'd put in there. All of the branded T-shirts and caps and fucking everything else I'd put as prizes up. She just pushed her way through them. Fucking picked up this shirt that they were all fucking drooling over. Because I think that she could see that they were drooling over it, so she just went for it. Anyway, the shirt was massive. It was like for an 11-year-old plus kid. She's tiny. And she held it up and that's what she wanted, so that's what she got. So then she wanted to put it on. I thought, fucking hell. So we put it over her and it was like a dress, right away down to the floor. White shirt, short arms, short sleeve shirt, down to her wrists. Massive. But she loved it. Fucking everyone was on it, so she loved it. She got back on the fucking scooter, racing around, and her parents come running over, seeing that her daughter had changed. Said, what's she done? What's that for? So I said, it's a prize for effort. Your daughter's been trying very hard, and for that alone, she's taken the first prize of the day. Oh, parents were made up, ran over to her daughter, giving her more kisses and hugs. And that only encouraged her to get back on the racetrack wearing this long BMX shirt. Look, it's these special moments that I love. In amongst all of my fucking errors and fucking craziness. This is what I'm all about. As we're enjoying the rest of the day, up came the limousine, door opened by the driver, and out popped the Mayor of Wandsworth, Councillor Nikki Nardelli. She stayed for 2 hours longer than she was planned to. I mean, she was only meant to be there a few minutes, just to show her face. She had the mayoral chain on, a security guy, a scaffolder, driver, hovering around her. She fucking talked to everyone. Most people didn't know who she was. They did at the end. She talked to everyone. She mingled and talked, and it was a proper day. You can imagine. Hopefully I'm describing it properly. I looked around the BMX park. I'm saying this is the home club community. You know, we're on a BMX track. It's not high net worth individuals in a private club, but it has the same feel factor, good feel factor, positive. This is the mantra I wanted to replicate. Things were going well for me. So I moved into an apartment at 603 Coptane House in Eastfields Avenue. Floor-to-ceiling bifold doors, when fully open, overlooked the River Thames right into the Hurlingham Club in Fulham, across the river. I was then able to give my family anything they wanted. Be first in line, and mum and grandmother Violet. Apartment had 2 bedrooms, dressing room for me, and ensuite, and terrace running the length of the flat overlooking the Thames. And then I'd get in a lift just outside my door and directly down in my shorts or dressing gown into a ground floor gym, 20-metre swimming pool, jacuzzi overlooking the Thames, sauna, separate steam room. I was in a luxury environment. I was back to where I should be, and more. I was starting off. I decided to take a hobby and investigated joining the Wimbledon Club in Church Road, SW19. This was to pursue a long love of tennis, which I didn't seem to have time for with everything else going on. I love tennis, love football, love tennis, but I used to like playing tennis and football. I like to smash my knee up. But the Wimbledon Club was directly opposite the All England Club, which is the Wimbledon Championships. As soon as I joined, I went into the reception. I said, look, I'd like to join. She sort of laughed at me. Caroline, not Caroline, Caroline, she wanted to be called. Lovely woman. Sweet. Okay, Caroline, I'd like to join this club. Yes, of course, she was looking around to say, who's this crank? Wants to join this beautiful club. Joker. So I said, well, what, cricket? Croquet? No, tennis. Tennis. No, 4 years wait. If at all, we're going to close the memberships. And is there another way I can join? As you could see, I was interested. Buster took pity on me. She went, well, I'll tell you what. She leaned forward. I'll tell you what. Don't tell anyone I told you this. But we're a little short on the squash. So if you join the squash club membership, then that will automatically give you a membership at this club where you can extend your membership and join the tennis club. You will have to attend the first mixer. So you're probably going to have to buy yourself a racket. But after that, you're in. Sweet. Went out and bought a fucking decent racket because we had 120 quid. Played once with a guy I'd met online, business finance guy. And that was it. Fucking sold the racket for 100 quid. Fucking bought another racket and then played tennis. With that, I'm being introduced to the Wandsworth Chamber of Commerce, the CEO, Mr. Steve Pinto, also a keen tennis player, and a member of the Roehampton Tennis Club, which was also not very far away. I decided to launch the home club, contact people in my black book to bring the community together. I received unbelievable references from Steve after the BMX event. Even though he knew of my conviction, he didn't care. Well, he said he didn't care. He told me he wasn't biased and he just wanted to promote people doing good in the business. Fair play. My company was also working on the high-profile individuals' homes, including the home of Jonathan A. Allen and his family. Jonathan was the Director of National Security at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office at the time. We took the whole front of his building out while his family lived there. Trust, again, received a wonderful reference from his wife, Liz, with excellent references for completing good work. Just reminded me of the position I had before with ex-cranks Tom Clark and others. What was the intent behind it? Well, the intent was obviously to put me away, but who was really behind it? What is this Operation Westminster? You know, all this goodness going on, the luxury lifestyle and making moves in all the right places. You can sometimes be redirected. You never forget these wrong ones. You never forget what you're going to do or want to do. You just sometimes, your life's only got so many hours in the day. You're taking up different things at different times. But I just got nudged back automatically into looking back at these fucking wrong ones and doing something about them. Just start thinking about how to fucking get back into them and uncover even more of the evidence in my favour. I received an email with formal confirmation of membership to the Wimbledon Club Tennis. And then a call from Pat Baptista, the secretary to the Mayor of Wandsworth, Nikki. She asked me to come to the Mayor's parlour for tea. I went in the office adjacent to the Mayor's parlour, sat with Pat, had a cup of tea and had a chat about Nikki, who was a friend of Pat's after so many years working for her. She said, Nikki's a bit of a character. And you'll know, don't worry, and she'll tell you about it. She wears knee-high kinky boots, or as she puts it, Gucci boots. Standard. She wears them everywhere. That's it. People know her for it. Okay. Fair enough, I said. Thinking, what the fuck's going on? It's the Mayor telling me about kinky boots. Fucking the Mayor. With no further time to go on, the door opened. Come in, Darren. Came in. Tapestry on the wall. Office. Wandsworth Council. Mayor of all her chain and glory. Sat down there. As I sat, she said, Darren, there are a lot of people talking about you and your good deeds. I know your unfortunate position of a conviction, but until your innocence is proven, those that don't know you will believe whatever they want to believe. Your good deeds have not gone unnoticed, and you have a lot of people standing in London and now the City of London who are backing you and willing you on. I'm one of those people, and in recognition of your services to the community, I award you with this mayoral badge of honour, as your name is now placed in the register in Wandsworth for time immemorial. Well done, Darren. This is thoroughly deserved. Wow, fucking badge of honour. Never heard of it. Thanks. Thank you. An honour. Special moment. And a moment that I dedicated to my daughter B. And my family. But firstly, to my daughter. Now, this was further evidence that hard work does pay off, eventually. And a letter headed from the Mayor followed in the post. Quote, I know Darren through my work as councillor at Wandsworth Council and also in my year of office as Mayor of Wandsworth. Darren does a great deal of work and funds local enterprise for young and sometimes hard to reach people. He also offers mentoring and employment opportunities. And for the good work he does in the community, this year he has been awarded a Wandsworth Badge of Honour and lifetime place in our register. On a personal note, I found him to be decent, caring and hugely compassionate. Person is always dependable. I would have no doubt in endorsing the sound character of this man. Yours faithfully, Councillor Nicola Nardelli, Mayor of Wandsworth, unquote. Now things are on the up. Now when things are on the up, something's coming. Something's fucking in the distance. Zooming at pace, finding its way honed in on me. But I couldn't see it coming. Was there anything coming? Had I tipped over the balance, the justice balance? Had I found myself finally fucking with some clean air? That I'd fucking come out of jail? Yes, I'd self-chosen diet, other than the kosher food. It's time to get in the gym. You got time, you get in the gym, you do walks, and you haven't fucking, I lost weight, I was looking good, feeling good. And then you come out and you fucking eat yourself silly and you fucking put on weight again. That's what happened to me. So, anyway, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to play tennis, can't fucking play tennis. Running around, like fucking, I need to get fit, So I called a Harley Street nutritionist called Tortville Slizate, Lithuanian, living in London. I met with Tortville, or Villa, as you prefer to call it, at her Harley Street practice. And after an hour-long consultation, I was about to leave when Villa said to me, "Oh, so what do you do, Darren?" I explained I was managing a residential building company to pay the bills whilst developing the home club. Villa asked to meet with me again and discuss mutually beneficial opportunities, she said. I felt she was being quite entrepreneurial, which excited me. Finally, I received a call from the Wimbledon club asking me to attend a hit, as they explain. Hit, okay? That's the words they use for a game, I guess. And this would help me to understand the realities and the politics and agendas that would compromise a physical club, as opposed to my planned venture, the home club, which was to be an online club with physical events. I drove over to the historic club, founded in 1854. Sun was out, there was girls, short skirts, running around. Yes, I'm a man, heterosexual. Forgive me, beat me if you want. That's who I am. The heat, the sun, the girls running around, informal mood. Oh, what a lovely place, right near where I lived, or a little ride from where I lived. I was looking around, daydreaming away, looking to play social tennis. And when the coach, Christian Colvin, came up, "Oh, come on, Darren, why don't you join us on the Wednesday evening as well? We have a much larger social tennis." "Oh, what does that mean?" I said, "Well, we play tennis and after we go into the bar and we have drinks and a conversation, get to know each other. Social." "Okay. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Thanks." I mean, it was rare that I'd, been invited to some of these lovely events. Normally, if people are inviting me to something, they want something. This sounded very genuine. So I'm contemplating this lovely little hobby I've got. I've got a job, I've got plans, I've got a future, money's coming. I live in a luxury apartment overlooking the Thames in Wandsworth. Gym, my own I can just every morning at 6 a.m. I'd get up, go downstairs, no one around, get in the jacuzzi, bubble away, watching the boats go by. Starting with my eyes to the right, just watching them left and right. The river taxi, kept pulling up right where I live, jump on a boat, right into the sea, stopping off along the way, Vauxhall, Fulham, Chelsea, wherever you want. Some daydreaming away in the sun, beating down on me. I was just looking at my racket and I heard this female voice behind me. "You're new." I looked round and I saw this little petite blonde in the usual tennis micro kit and tight-fitting top. Fucking hell. "I'm Adele," in a softly spoken South African accent. Fucking bit of me, I thought. But this was soon extinguished. I hear you laughing. Stop it. When I heard the same name spoken by someone called Mario, who seemed to be her partner. Now, Mario saw himself as the Italian stallion. He was actually an A-team specialist player at the club. He was in the top club, top level tennis player at this club. He was short, stocky, tanned, and he could get around the court at great speed. Obviously being so close to the terra firma. Now, on the first evening of this mixing social tennis, I played with some fun characters. Some people to have intense personalities and some others were just physically attractive. And I never got the opportunity to play alongside Adele. Strange. Christian Colvin was moving everyone around, just didn't get a chance. He was mixing everyone up. It's a mix-up, that's what he called it. Never mind, I thought, fuck it, I'll play her another time. I got this distinct feeling. Yeah, you might call it arrogance, confidence, or overconfidence. But I actually felt she was fucking looking at me. I got this sense burning in the back of my head. As I swung around, she'd look away. And she got embarrassed, went red. Adele seemed like a lot of fun. And I was going to say I hope that she wouldn't encourage me. I didn't need much encouragement, but yeah, obviously I did. She was flirting. A little more as time went on with me. And yeah, of course I reciprocated. When we'd have the social and we'd have a couple of drinks, getting in, socialising, it was flirting, and then, I just, the next day back to work, I just felt, no, I can't. No, honestly, I said, I can't. At the tennis club, and I valued the tennis club more than a relationship. All right, stop it. I did. One evening, we all went up to the terrace. We wanted to have some strawberries and cream and glasses of champagne. I struck up a conversation with Adele. She was getting a little lightheaded. I think we all were. I asked her about her work and whether she had time to take a hit during the day. She was well on her way to being tipsy, and I was plying her with champagne. And even for a seasoned champagne drinker like her, she was merry. She agreed. So we decided to exchange numbers and text each other details. I know what you're thinking. We're on our way, obviously. I wanted to know when she was free to play. I decided to find out more about Adele before making further inquiries, and a relaxed game of tennis seemed to be the perfect start. The thing is, with the absence of the alcohol fueling the desires, conscience was getting grip. I then received a text from Dallas asking me for convenient dates, was the phrase. Look, there were too many ways to make an excuse. I thought when checking my diary I'd choose one of her options. It wasn't that I was nervous at the prospects for Adele. Of course I'm not. My concern was, as I said, I would spoil my relationship with the tennis club. One little bit of fun just wasn't worth it for me. I spent most of that year working on construction projects, steadily building my contacts, trying to build my business, construction, and fund my new business, the home club. I looked again at my LinkedIn contacts and noticed a contact that was liking a lot of the things I was doing. So I planned to meet up with the Estonian supermodel and former Bond girl, James Bond, not George, and lead presenter in Estonia's top model TV program. Her name, Miss Kaya Wunder. Now, Kaya at the time owned the Button Club, which appeared to be a private events company and the party scene for the wealthy. I met with her at the reading room at the Law Society in Chancery Lane to discuss a series of events, dating events. She was doing some dating events for our mutual contacts. I said I'd first need to see what she was doing before being able to introduce anyone. Due diligence, as I mentioned. She agreed, and asked that I bring as many guests as I felt comfortable. Now, I knew that I already had a few interesting playboys and girls that I'd like to introduce at Kaya's events, and this seemed like a perfect match. I invited my brothers, who had a great time, as I did. I met with 3 Russian beauties at the bar after Kaya had asked me to chat to them and offered to be their wingman. I wasn't only their wingman, I got all 3 of their phone numbers they all in front of each other, pulled a receipt out of the till or asked the barman for a receipt and wrote their numbers, and each of them gave me each of their numbers, telling me to take my pick. Very lucky. I was just on fire that night. I was just on a roll, chat, the gift, overdrive. Anyway, as lovely as the venue and the concept was, the Button Club just appeared lacking in numbers. I was looking around, I only counted about 30 people, and that drifted down within an hour or so, and then 10, and then I felt sorry for us. It seems as if the Button Club had its day. Old hat, I think is the phrase, and needed a fresh approach. I thought, well, look, I've got this supermodel, ex-Bond girl, she knows about events. Why don't I bring her into the home club? Then, as I'm contemplating that, I got a message from Steve Pinto again, asking if I would be one of the 3 judges at the Lionheart Challenge down at the local girls' school, sixth form college at Burntwood Lane School in Wandsworth. The Lionheart Challenge was like a nationwide entrepreneurs program, advancing budding entrepreneurs to create a new adventure. I was being considered as a local entrepreneur, businessman, charity man. I was basically being given the credits that I deserved. This is me fighting my way through shit, whilst that's me also isn't really where I wanted to be. It was just a necessity. This is the person I am. This is how I should be getting on with life. But again, you can hear the Wurlitzer in the background of the fucking bomb waiting to go off. Looking around, it's not there yet. It's coming. It always comes. I've just got to make as much of it as I can before it arrives. I decided to meet up with Villa, and to break the ice, as I hadn't at that point made too many contacts at the Wimbledon club, I invited her to play tennis with me during the day. She accepted, and I asked if she wanted to have lunch afterwards and discuss my health requirements, so we agreed. We then went to my apartment, left there for tennis, had a hit for an hour or so in the blazing sun on the grass. It was lovely. And I could see that she was impressed at the fact that, even though we were playing on grass at the Wimbledon club, between 2 courts of experienced females, I was relaxed and patient with her beginner-level tennis. She soon became competitive once she got the hang of it, though, and, she enjoyed trying to beat me down the line. I just played along. I found it amusing just to see her eyes point to the way she was going to create the shot and then run in the opposite direction, giving her the lift. Anyway, we finished the afternoon and went to the lunch on the terrace at the club. And then I looked down on my phone and received a call from the mayor. I nodded to Villa, who reciprocated. I was going to go out onto the terrace and take the call. I leant on the railing and heard, "Hello, Darren. What are you up to in this fine day?" Nikki Kinky Boots Nardelli. I knew that she would either be at an event or in her parlour, so I teased her with the fact that I was having fun in the sun. She laughed and called me some choice, unusual and affectionate names. She had a language about her, let's say. But she invited me to join her and 26 other Greater London mayors on the Whittington Walk, and then to enter the City of London, to join the Lord Mayor of the City of London to raise funds for the Greater London boroughs and Whittington Hospital. She further explained that the Whittington Walk was also supported by the Mayor of the City of London's charities, and this was an opportunity to take part in an event steeped in tradition, setting off from Whittington Hospital at 9:30, then the 5-mile sponsored walk that follows the route from about 600 years ago that Dick Whittington, one of City of London's most famous mayors, took to Mansion House in the City of London. "Bring a friend if you want," she said. Now, I thought long and hard about who to bring. I asked Villa, but she had prearranged plans with a film crew for her new TV venture. And as I was to attend the event run by Kaya at the Sanderson Hotel in Berners Street, Mayfair, I thought to ask her. Now, the Sanderson Hotel is a great place and has the most eclectic decor, stunning food. Kaya had a friend of hers as a DJ during the evening, which again wasn't very busy. She'd been asked by the owners or the management to bring the crowd, but there was no crowd. She just brought a load of cronies. I suppose I was one of them at that point. It was at that point, though, that I was introduced to a black girl called Ruthie. Now, Ruthie, she explained, was a former model. And do you know what? I was absolutely stunned to hear of her age. I couldn't believe it. It was just lying. She had to be lying. She also mentions that she'd been the face of Adidas some years before. And as we got talking, I told her about the Whittington Walk. "Oh, I'd love to go to something like that," she said. As she went on, "I've never been invited to anything like that. Most likely because I'm black." Listen in to each episode as I engage you in my personal journey of how a boy growing up on a council estate in Essex would eventually own the most exclusive online private members club in the world.